A declaration of escalation from Tehran. Iran says it has struck 60 strategic targets and 500 American and Israeli military points in just 48 hours. More than 700 drones and hundreds of ballistic missiles. That is the scale Iran now claims. Across Israel, sirens are sounding from the north to Tel Aviv. The United States has confirmed 6 of its military personnel have been killed, and the region, once tense, is now an open multi-front confrontation. Ibrahim Zulfikari, spokesperson for Iran's Joint Army and Revolutionary Guard Coordination Center, announced sweeping operations on Monday. He said Iran had struck 60 strategic targets and 500 military points of America and Israel. According to Zulfikari, in just the past 48 hours, Iran fired more than 700 drones and hundreds of ballistic missiles. He claimed this exceeded the scale of the previous 12-day war.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, the 11th wave of Operation True Promise 4 was executed in a comprehensive, extensive, and high-intensity combined operation by the naval and aerospace operational groups of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps against American and Zionist military targets on the 3rd day of the terrorist enemy's aggressions against our beloved homeland. The intelligence centers and military support warehouses belonging to the United States in the Persian Gulf region, the communications industry complex of the Israeli regime's army located in Beersheba, and more than 20 locations in the areas of Tel Aviv, West Jerusalem, and Galilee in the occupied territories were all struck by Iranian missiles and drones. The proud and valiant members of Iran's armed forces, by launching an assault on 60 strategic targets and 500 military sites belonging to America and Israel, have, up to this very moment, fired more than 700 drones and hundreds of ballistic missiles, thereby defeating our enemies in their interception attempts and establishing a new record. They achieved more than what was accomplished in the entire 12-day war, all within the past 48 hours against the invading enemies. The brutal and terroristic actions perpetrated by the United States Army and the Zionist regime against the oppressed Iranian citizens, particularly in their savage attack on hospitals, schools, the national media, and civil institutions will, more than ever, forge the resolve within the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran to wage an all-out war against its enemies, thereby elevating the scope of our nation's military operations. And victory comes from none other than Allah, the Almighty, the All-Wise.
The United States has confirmed the deaths of 6 military personnel at the time of publication. The fatalities come after U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran early Saturday morning. Tehran described its drone and missile barrage as retaliation against both Israel and U.S. assets across the region. Explosions have been reported in multiple Gulf countries as the confrontation expands beyond a single battlefield. Each side now frames its actions as defensive response to the other's escalation. Inside Israel, sirens have sounded repeatedly. Rockets were fired from Lebanon, triggering alerts across northern Israel, including the Galilee Panhandle and the Golan Heights. The militant group Hezbollah reportedly launched rockets and drones toward Israeli territory. Moments later, sirens rang out in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and central Israel amid Iran's latest ballistic missile salvo. Civilians were instructed to enter bomb shelters as the Israel Defense Forces worked to intercept incoming projectiles. The conflict now stretches from Israel's northern border to its central urban core. This escalation follows confirmed strikes on Saturday that killed Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei. That development marked a historic and destabilizing moment. It came after several rounds of talks between Washington and Tehran had already faltered. Now, missile exchanges, drone warfare, and cross-border rocket fire define the landscape.
For months, the CIA tracked Iran's most protected man. Then came the break. Intelligence indicated that Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, would attend a high-level meeting at a leadership compound in Tehran on Saturday morning. What was planned as a night strike was suddenly recalibrated. According to a report by the New York Times, the CIA had been tracking Khamenei for months, steadily building what officials described as high-fidelity intelligence on his movements and patterns. The breakthrough came when U.S. intelligence learned that a meeting of top Iranian officials was scheduled for Saturday morning at a central Tehran compound, and that Khamenei himself would be present. The intelligence was passed directly to Israel. What had been designed as a night operation was reconsidered. The new information provided a narrow but decisive window. Two U.S. sources and one U.S. official told Reuters that striking while Khamenei was in session with senior aides significantly reduced the possibility of escape or relocation. It was a critical operational calculation. Khamenei was known to avoid predictable appearances and frequently change locations. The revised timeline was approved. Israeli aircraft reported departed bases at approximately 6 a.m. Israel time. At around 9:40 a.m. Tehran time, 2 hours and 5 minutes later, long-range missiles struck the compound. Senior national security officials were gathered in one building. Khamenei was reportedly in another nearby structure. The joint mission carried two names: Operation Roaring Lion by Israel and Operation Epic Fury by the United States. According to a report by the New York Times, the strike involved U.S. warships launching Tomahawk cruise missiles, U.S. Army HIMARS systems, Israeli fighter jets, and one-way attack drones deployed by Task Force Scorpion Strike, marking their first use in combat. U.S. President Donald Trump later posted that American intelligence had successfully tracked Khamenei's movements and that he was unable to avoid our intelligence and highly sophisticated tracking systems. The compound targeted was described by the New York Times as housing the offices of the Iranian presidency, the supreme leader, and the National Security Council, effectively the nerve center of the Islamic Republic. Israeli assessments indicated that those present included Mohammad Pakpour, Commander-in-Chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Corps, Defense Minister Aziz Nasirzadeh, Admiral Ali Shamkhani, IRGC Aerospace Force Commander Sayed Majid Mousavi, and Deputy Intelligence Minister Mohammad Shirazi. The joint mission marked a decisive shift from covert shadow conflict to direct leadership targeting.